guys, and welcome back to another movie review. So this one is for Hocus Pocus 2, and this is one of those movies that there was so much hype and so many ads for leading up to it coming out that I figured had to be good for how excited everybody was over it. But I failed to factor in the very obvious here in that, yeah, sure, there was all the hype leading up to it, but did anybody really talk about it after it came out? Yeah, that should have spoken volumes to me, but somehow it didn't register until I watched it, and then I thought about the fact that, yeah, I guess nobody did talk about this one, and I think I see why. So, for how beloved the original is, I understand why there was so much hype leading up to the release of this, and why everyone was so excited. However, now that I've sat down and watched it, I'm like, I see why nobody talked about it. So it starts out almost like prequel type land, where the Sanderson sisters are literal children. Apparently after the point where they've already been orphaned and everything. But the oldest sister, turning, I believe, 16, even though they look awfully young for 16, but that's beside the point, is supposed to marry against her will. And she is not having it. So she cursed out the Reverend, basically said hell no, took the Lord's name in vain, in her words, and that was that. So the Reverend comes to their house and gives her one more chance to change her mind. And mind you, the whole time I'm looking at him going, he looks really familiar. He sounds pretty familiar too. Who is that? But I don't want to look at IMDb. I want to see if I can figure it out on my own. And it's not registering just yet. But I got there. Hang with me. But being her 16th birthday, she comes home. The sisters tried to make it special for her. They made their own witchy jello for her. They got her a present of the biggest spider they could find. But anyway, so Reverend comes back, gives her a second chance, and she still doubles down and says no. Again. So he decides, oh, okay, that's fine. You'll be banished, and we're taking your sisters and rehoming them. And she is not having that because they're her sisters. She's not going to let them get split up. So she's fighting and everything, and somewhere in there the spider gets loose and gets onto the Reverend. He screams, and that is the moment I realize, it's Tony Hale. I see you, Buster. Alright, cool. I know who it is. Now, it threw me because he had long hair in this role and no glasses on, although later on in this, he plays a second role. No wig, so now he's got the same hairline I'm used to seeing him with, but still no glasses. But now it's more just like what he looked like on Veep, so that's fine. But anyway, so they all escape out into the Forbidden Forest because townspeople aren't going to follow them there. And it's there that they encounter a witch. An older witch. Who initially was going to eat them until she realized, oh wait, they're witches too. Okay, maybe not. And points out how lucky they are to have their own coven. Because her coven is all gone. Anyway. So, this just sets the scene for how they started out. It goes back to modern day, which is 30 years after the events of the first film. And what had been, well, not only their house, but then later the museum. That museum is now basically a museum/magic shop. Yeah, it's like that. Anyway, so it's Halloween, and it's also one of the girls' 16th birthday, and apparently they've been doing their own, birthday ritual every year on their own anyway, because they like dabbling with the witchy stuff, even though they aren't really taking it that seriously. They don't really expect it to be real. But one of them this year has moved on to a new friend group and has a boyfriend and the whole thing, and is hosting a party that night and hadn't even invited the other two to it. So it's like a whole drama in and of itself. But anyway, the other two decide they're gonna go ahead and do the ceremony anyway. But they stop by the magic shop first, and he gives them a present, including a candle, which should already be red flags if you've seen the first film. Yeah, it gives a candle and some angelica leaves, in case you get cursed, because you never know when they'll come in handy. But yeah, so they go out in the woods, they do the thing, except all of a sudden, oh, this candle is burning with the black flame, and you realize, shit, I see what's happening here, and yeah, sure enough, they unleash the witches, which I'm like, wait, first off, time out. I thought the events of the ending of the first film made it to where they can't come back, so how exactly did they come back? Don't know, they didn't really address that, but that's beside the point. So they come back. There's even like a song and dance number of the witches are back, and it's supposed to be like Elton John's The Bitch is Back. And this is where I was already going, oh no. Oh, no. What are we doing here? No. You did not do that. They're really showing their age at this point. It feels like way more than 30 years have passed, even though logistically, I know it's only 30, but yeah, it's weird given that it's supposed to be that like none of them had aged in the 300 years they had been frozen in time in the afterworld or wherever they got sent to in the first movie between when they were killed and when they were brought back. But this time they aged? I don't know. Anyway. So it's a whole thing. They're gonna kill the teenager and her friend, and they're like, but we're not teenagers. Actually, we're 40. Really? Yeah, but they should have known. You can't fool a witch like that. But regardless, they try to convince them that everything's different now. Like, you don't even have to collect souls anymore. Like, now you could just go to a pharmacy and get, like, your lotions and potions, everything, with the souls already mixed in. So they bring them to a Walgreens, and all of a sudden now it's really just feeling like an ad for Walgreens in the way that they go about it, as well as some of the products that they're showing in it. It really looks like product drops, but more so than anything, ad for Walgreens. It's kind of cringy the way they went about it. But they're going through there, they're in the beauty section looking for anti-aging products. They're like eating them and stuff because they think it's actual potions and stuff, until they catch sight of themselves in, like, the security mirror, which is always skewed like a fisheye lens, and they decide that, oh, she lied to us. There's no children's souls in these. They even ask an employee, how many children's souls are in these? And he's like, 0? Yeah, so now they're pissed. Now they want revenge against the girls, and are going to spend the rest of the film trying to seek it. So they run off. They run back to the magic shop, basically like, what the hell? Why would you give us that candle? Da 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 da. And he explains how he's like their biggest fan, and oh my god, they're back, and da 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 da. I couldn't bring them back because, Virgin has to light the candle, and, well, I couldn't light it, but I got you guys to do it and bring them back, and da da da. Yeah, it's a whole thing, whole song and dance, basically. He finds out very quickly, firsthand, that it was a mistake to bring them back, which, duh, but he tries to befriend them, it backfires, they get cursed, really quickly, thrown down in the dungeon. He's now pretty much, not emboldened, he's, why can't I think of the word I'm looking for here? Indebted to them to where he is also cursed with a binding spell to where he now has to get the ingredients for the spell so they can become all powerful. Yeah, the one spell that they were basically made to promise they would never do. Yeah, they're gonna do it, because of course they are. So he's gonna have to go get all those ingredients, or if when the last grain of sand falls out on the hourglass, he'll die. So, no pressure. So that's a whole thing that's going on. I believe there was another song and dance number, and there was okay, why are we doing this? Alright. They don't work in this one the way that they did in the first one. I don't know. They just don't. Everything about this one, it rubbed me the wrong way constantly. But regardless, it goes down about the way you would expect. turns out, because the teenager turned 16 now, her witchy powers have come to fruition, and now it's a whole battle between the two. The special effects for the magic in this are really lousy. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Anyway, so at the end of the day, the book of all the spells and everything chooses the teenager over the old witches. Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's a whole thing. But the older witches decide to cast that spell that they were told never not to, even though they did not read the warning that comes with it. And that warning read that, like, yeah, if you do this, you will pay with whatever matters to you most dearly. So the other two sisters disappear. And she just wants to undo it, because she didn't realize that was what was going to happen if she cast the spell. The book helps the teenager cast a spell to where, alright, it'll kinda undo it in a roundabout kind of way, except it doesn't bring them back, it just sends her off to be with them wherever they poofed off to. Yeah. It's kinda contrived. We have, like, not a resurgence, a reappearance of Binks from the last movie, not as the cat, but as the zombie. Totally different voice. He sounds more like more like Captain Jack Sparrow in this one than he does like his character did in the first. Not sure why. You would think they would just want to get a voice actor that sounded like he was kind of sort of trying to do an impression of Binks, but no, not so much. There's just a lot of things with this that left a lot to be desired. Honestly, if I gave this a 3 out of 5, it would feel generous. So, like, a low 3 out of 5. Like, it was fine, but I'm not even gonna say I enjoyed it, because the whole time I was like, how much of this thing is left? Oh my god, there's like that much more to go. Oh, fuck. And just was finding myself looking at the time more than I was paying attention to the film, because I just wanted it to be done and over with, because I was not into this one. It does not have the same charm as the first, in my opinion. Wish it did, but it doesn't. I shouldn't be that surprised, I suppose, but yeah, I see why nobody talks about this one. It's not very good, in my opinion. It's very skippable. If you loved the first one, trust me, just stick with the first one. You don't really need this second one. You can get by just fine without it. You are not missing out on anything. It's awful. It is truly, truly awful. Anyway, those are my thoughts, so take them or leave them. But anyway, that is it for this one. So as usual, you know what to do. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you're not already and you'd like to be, click subscribe. Hit that notification bell icon so you never miss an upload. Leave comments down below. Make sure you're following my social media accounts, my Facebook fan page, my Twitter, my Instagram, my eBay, my Reddits, everything and more. It's all down below. And if you like what I do here on this channel and you'd like to help support it, the donation link, as always, is down in the description. Anyway, guys, till next time, see ya.